Everyone wanted to see power collide. Speed versus confidence. Bruce Lee versus Muhammad Ali. They expected tension. They expected ego. They expected a fight. But when the moment finally came, Ali didn't lift his hands. He asked a question. And in that silence, the idea of strength changed forever. True power doesn't need proof. When people heard the names Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee in the same sentence, they didn't imagine a conversation. They imagined a test, two legends, two systems of strength, and a room full of people waiting for someone to assert dominance. In moments like that, most men feel the pressure to perform, to flex, to remind everyone why they belong at the top. Ali felt none of that. He didn't interrupt. He didn't posture. He didn't reach for wit or intimidation. He listened. That silence wasn't hesitation. It was certainty. Ali understood something that only the truly powerful ever learn. When your identity is secure, you don't rush to defend it. You don't argue your greatness. You don't compete for approval. Proof is something insecure people chase. Ali had already faced the loudest crowds, the harshest critics, and the heaviest fists in the world. Compared to that, a comparison meant nothing. A challenge meant nothing. He had nothing to gain and nothing to protect. While others in the room measured strength in speed, technique, or physical dominance, Ali measured it in composure, in control, in the ability to remain unmoved when everyone else expected reaction. That calm wasn't passive. It was dominant, because real power doesn't need a spotlight. It doesn't demand applause. It doesn't show up to prove itself. It shows up already knowing. And in that moment, before a single word was spoken, Ali had already won. Ego creates conflict. Clarity ends it. The moment the comparison began, the air in the room changed. Not because of hostility, but because of expectation. People leaned forward. They wanted a clash of identities. They wanted one man to rise by pushing the other down. That's what ego feeds on. Ego doesn't ask questions to understand. It asks them to win. It sharpens words into weapons and turns conversation into competition. Ali saw that shift instantly. He didn't challenge Bruce Lee's skill. He didn't defend his own reputation. He did something far more dangerous. He slowed the moment down. Instead of answering the comparison, Ali asked a question that cut through the noise, not sharp, not mocking, just honest. And in that pause, something remarkable happened. The tension had nowhere to go, because clarity removes fuel. When you stop arguing who is better, and ask why we're measuring at all, the fight collapses. Ego needs opposition. It needs friction. But clarity creates space. And in that space, conflict loses its grip. Ali wasn't avoiding the conversation. He was elevating it. He understood that most battles exist only because both sides agree to play. By refusing to engage on ego's terms, Ali didn't just protect his dignity, he dismantled the entire contest. In that quiet redirection, the room shifted from rivalry to reflection. And everyone realized something uncomfortable but true. The strongest man in the room wasn't the one proving superiority. It was the one who ended the need to. Speed and power mean nothing without purpose. On the surface, the comparison seemed obvious. Bruce Lee represented speed, precision, and relentless discipline. Muhammad Ali represented power, timing, and supreme confidence. Everyone wanted to measure how they fought. Ali was thinking about why. He understood that physical ability, no matter how refined, is empty without direction. Speed without purpose becomes chaos. Power without meaning turns into noise. Muscles can impress a crowd, but they can't explain a man. Ali never separated strength from belief. Every fight he stepped into carried weight beyond the ring. He fought for his name, his faith, his right to define himself in a world that wanted to label him. That purpose gave his movement rhythm, his words gravity, and his restraint depth. In that moment with Bruce Lee, Ali didn't reduce the conversation to techniques or outcomes. He refused to let it become a spectacle of comparison. Because once you strip purpose away, all you're left with is entertainment. Ali wasn't interested in being entertained. He was interested in being aligned. True strength doesn't ask, what can I do? It asks, what is this for? When purpose leads, ego falls silent. When meaning enters the room, competition loses its urgency, and suddenly speed and power become tools, not identities. That's why Ali didn't need to outmove or outpunch anyone that day. His purpose had already decided the outcome. Because when you know why you stand, you never have to rush to prove how strong you are. The strongest men don't set rush to violence. The room was waiting for escalation. That's what history had trained them to expect. Two icons of physical mastery, two different philosophies of combat. One shared space. In a world that celebrates dominance, the assumption is always the same. Strength reveals itself through aggression, through who speaks louder, who stands firmer, who strikes first. The crowd doesn't just anticipate violence, it trusts it. Violence feels familiar, predictable, almost comforting. Muhammad Ali knew that instinct well. He had lived his entire life under its shadow. From the moment he rose to fame, people expected him to prove his manhood through conflict. When he spoke with confidence, they demanded confrontation. When he stood by his convictions, they pushed him toward a fight. The world kept asking him the same question in different forms. Are you tough enough? Ali stopped answering that question a long time ago. So when the tension with Bruce Lee began to simmer, Ali didn't stiffen. He didn't lean forward. He didn't adopt the posture of a man preparing for combat. He stayed loose, present, grounded. That choice wasn't accidental. It was disciplined. Because violence is often a reflex, not a decision. It's what happens when ego feels threatened and fear goes unnamed. Most people react before they think, then spend the rest of their lives justifying the damage. Ali had learned something far more difficult. Restraint requires courage. It takes strength to pause when adrenaline surges. It takes control to breathe when pride is challenged. It takes confidence to remain open when the room expects resistance. Ali didn't see Bruce Lee as an opponent to be neutralized. He saw him as a man, disciplined, thoughtful, searching for understanding in his own way. That perspective changed everything. You don't rush to violence against someone you recognize as human. And in that recognition, the tension lost its authority. Ali understood that every moment offers two paths, escalation or elevation. One feeds the crowd, the other changes the room. Violence might have satisfied curiosity, but restraint revealed mastery. Because true strength isn't measured by how quickly you can hurt someone, it's measured by how completely you can choose not to. In that moment, Ali showed the rarest kind of power, the ability to stay in control of himself when everyone else was prepared for chaos. He didn't dominate the space with force. He disarmed it with presence. And that sets the kind of strength that doesn't fade when the noise dies down. It lingers, long after the moment has passed. Wisdom disarms what muscles cannot. By this point, the room had already changed. Even if no one fully understood how, there was no explosion, no verbal sparring, no moment of dominance. And that absence confused people. They had come prepared for power, measured in speed, strength, and technique. What they witnessed instead was something far more unsettling, a situation where force simply had nowhere to land. That is what wisdom does. Wisdom doesn't collide with aggression. It redirects it. It removes the target. It refuses to become the thing it's being challenged to fight. Ali understood this deeply. He had spent years watching critics, politicians, reporters, and opponents try to provoke him into reactions they could control. Anger made him predictable. Violence made him dismissible. So he learned to do the one thing they didn't expect. He thought first. In the exchange with Bruce Lee, Ali didn't argue styles. He didn't counter philosophies. He didn't turn the conversation into a debate that required winning, because wisdom doesn't exist to defeat others. It exists to clarify truth. That's why a single well-placed question changed the energy of the room more than any punch ever could. Questions are disarming. They slow momentum. They force reflection. They shift power away from ego and toward understanding. Ali's question didn't corner Bruce Lee. It opened space. And when space appears, aggression loses direction. Muscles are designed to act, not to think. Wisdom, on the other hand, thrives in pauses. What made the moment powerful wasn't the question itself, it was the intention behind it. Ali wasn't seeking advantage, he was seeking meaning, and meaning dissolves conflict because it reframes the entire interaction. Instead of who would win, the room began asking, what does strength actually mean? That shift is seismic. Because once wisdom enters the conversation, force becomes unnecessary. You can't overpower someone who isn't trying to overpower you. You can't dominate someone who isn't competing. And you can't intimidate someone who understands himself. Ali's wisdom exposed a hard truth. Most conflicts don't exist because of real danger. They exist because of misunderstood identity. People fight when they feel unseen, unheard, or challenged at their core. Ali saw that, and instead of pressing on the wound, he addressed it. He didn't try to outthink Bruce Lee. He didn't try to outtalk him. He simply stayed aligned with his values. That alignment is what gave his words weight. Wisdom carries authority, not because it's loud, but because it's rooted. It doesn't need to convince. It resonates. And resonance travels further than intimidation ever could. By refusing to escalate, Ali didn't lose control of the moment. He took full ownership of it. The tension didn't disappear because someone backed down. It disappeared because there was nothing left to fight. This is the power most people never develop. The ability to neutralize conflict without defeating anyone. Ali showed that wisdom isn't set passive. It's set strategic. It sets deliberate. And it sets stronger than any physical advantage. Because muscles can overpower bodies, but wisdom reshapes outcomes. And in that quiet moment, Ali didn't just avoid a confrontation, he demonstrated mastery at a level few ever reach. The mastery of self. The greatest victory is leaving with peace. There was no bell, no referee, no winner announced. And yet when the moment ended, everyone in the room felt it. Something had been decided. The world had expected resolution through dominance. That's how most stories end. One man stands taller, the other steps back, and the crowd knows who to cheer. But this encounter refused to follow that script. Ali didn't walk away triumphant in the traditional sense. He walked away whole. That distinction matters. Most victories come with damage. Pride bruised, egos wounded, bridges burned quietly in the background. Even when you win, something is usually lost. Respect, trust, or inner alignment. Ali had seen that pattern play out again and again in public life. He chose something else. By refusing to turn the moment into a contest, Ali protected more than his image. He protected the humanity of everyone involved. Bruce Lee wasn't reduced to a rival. The audience wasn't turned into spectators of conflict, and Ali himself didn't become a caricature of aggression. He left with peace, and peace is rare. Peace doesn't mean avoidance. It means resolution without regret. It means stepping away from a moment knowing you didn't betray your values for applause. That kind of peace can't be given by a crowd. It can only be earned internally. Ali understood that true victory is internal alignment. When your words match your beliefs, when your actions reflect your convictions, when you don't have to explain yourself afterward, that sets the victory that lasts. In the aftermath, people didn't debate who would win in a fight. They talked about the tone, the restraint, the dignity, the maturity. The story became bigger than a hypothetical outcome. It became a reflection of what strength could look like in a fractured world. Ali walked away without headlines, screaming dominance, but he left something more powerful behind. A standard. A standard that said you don't have to humiliate others to honor yourself. A standard that said respect doesn't require submission. A standard that said peace is not weakness. It is resolution at the highest level. Most people never learn when to leave. They stay too long in arguments that drain them. They fight battles that don't deserve their energy. They chase wins that cost them their integrity. Ali didn't sit. He recognized the moment for what it was. A crossroads. One path led to noise, ego, and temporary satisfaction. The other led to quiet, dignity, and lasting impact. He chose the second. That choice is what made the moment unforgettable. Because while the world celebrates knockouts, history remembers composure. While crowds chase spectacle, legacy is built in restraint. And while conflict creates stories, peace creates meaning. Ali didn't set need to defeat Bruce Lee. He didn't set need to outshine him. He didn't set need to prove anything at all. He left the room with his values intact, his respect preserved, and his message clear. And that is the greatest victory any man can claim. Everyone wanted Ali versus Bruce Lee. What they witnessed instead was mastery, not of fists, but of self. Because strength isn't set proven by who you defeat. It sits revealed by what you refuse to become. And that's why Muhammad Ali didn't just leave the room with respect. He left behind a lesson the world still needs.